Welcome to the Sports Card Talk Show. Sports Card Talk Show with Kevin Anderson and Lorn Walker, the Skull Brothers.
Welcome to episode 98 of the Sports Card Talk Show. Something kind of going back a little bit, but something all new all at the same time today, huh?
Yeah, we're doing the RocK and Mount Rushmore. I don't know what we'll call it exactly when I get down in front of the computer and title this episode, but
Rock and roll Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, Rock and Roll Mount Rushmore. We're hooking up with Dustin from Dustin and Blake on YouTube.
Yep.
And MN Sports Cards. Is it Cards?
83.
83, yeah.
Yep. On
Instagram. And we're gonna both share our Mount Rushmores and talk a little bit of cards.
Yeah, it is a sports card talk show.
Yeah.
So we'll dabble in that a little bit. You guys have a shared love of a player, so
yeah. He has a really cool series on his channel called KPs and LPs.
Yeah.
That he shows off Kirby Puckett cards. He's chasing 1,000. He's getting close.
Yeah.
And maybe I can help him out with that. I've got a box of Kirby Puckets in front of me.
Oh boy.
So I'll show
Awesome.
I'll show him a few and see if we can't maybe see if
Push
I
him a little bit.
Get him up there. Pick up a couple more
Awesome.
KPs on that KP counter.
Should we dial him up?
Ring-a-ling ding dong.
All right, we got Dustin dialed up here. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Hey,
Good,
man.
good.
How are you guys?
We're doing good. Great.
Yep. Yeah, this has been a little bit in the making, and Lauren's been preparing. I don't know if you can kind of see our background, and this is going to be a lot of fun.
I got my tapestry of Motley Crue's Shout at the Devil behind me.
Woo!
Which actually was it was my best friend recorded that album on one side of a cassette tape and Rats Dancing Undercover on the other side. So
I wonder how many people are going to be like, what's a cassette?
yeah.
You did what?
So
And I have my Adam Thielen tapestry behind me, so we both have our little flags out.
There you go. Awesome.
And the background's going to change during the episode too, to tell you the truth.
Lauren had a lot of fun with this one. He's been really working at it. So
yeah, I know you said you were ready to go early, and I could have probably used another hour to prep.
So, why don't you talk a little bit about your collecting? We obviously know what you collect and all that fun stuff, but why don't you talk about that just a little bit?
Okay, I am a Kirby Puckett super collector. I collect pretty much all Twins and all Vikings, but my focus is Kirby Puckett, and my son collects with me, and that's basically where our channel is. Some videos are just me, and then some videos are him, kind of a little bit of everything. We do TTMs, we open packs, we show vintage cards, new cards, football, baseball. We try to do a variety of things to keep our viewers interested.
What's the percentage of your TTMs do you think that you get back?
Probably 70, 75 range, maybe.
Wow.
Okay. When you get them back, you kind of like compare them to like a certified card that you see that they've signed for the company or whatever. Do they look pretty legit most of the time?
They do look legit most of the time. I have sent some in for authentication, and I've never had one fail yet.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, nice. That's really cool. I wasn't sure what to expect with the percentage. That's higher than I guess I was thinking.
I mean, we don't take a lot of like huge chances.
Right.
Once in a while, I mean, we've sent to Randy Moss. I've sent to AP 3 or 4 times, but for the most part, the biggest surprise I ever got was Larry Fitzgerald's return.
Oh, wow.
That was a total, like, I'm never going to see this card again. And then it came back, and I was just in shock.
Yeah. Larry is, all you ever hear is how classy the guy is.
Yeah.
So.
It surprised me for a second. And I thought about like, that doesn't surprise me as much as I thought it was going to.
The other, Steve Young and Dan Marino were surprise returns also.
Oh, wow.
But
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Cool. So I think Lorn, you were going to show a couple Kirby's
Yeah.
and see if something he might not have. I'm guessing you already have, but you never know.
Yeah, it's gonna probably be hard to like add to your collection, but and I'll have to double check and make sure I got doubles of these two.
Oh, you needed more time to prep. It's going to be really hard to tell, I think.
I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
It's like a mail-in. It was a mail-in. If you look at the back, this card entitles you to have one Kirby Puckett 1995 Team Pinnacle collector pin.
Oh yeah, I don't think I have that one.
Okay, if I got a second one of those, and I actually might. This is a passing of the torch.
Okay, I have that one.
Okay, I figured.
Oh, wait, hold on. Does it got somebody on the back of it?
No. This one's
Okay.
just him.
I think there's two different versions of that card. And I have the one that's just him, but there's one that has somebody on the back, but I can't remember.
Andrew Jones. I got another. I got the Andrew Jones one right there.
Yeah, that's the one that I don't have, the Andrew Jones.
Before you should have made sure you had doubles all these.
Yeah, well, we'll figure that out afterwards.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
I can always get another one if we can get. I'd like to see you hit that 1,000, man.
For
like
sure.
some of these cards. I got to imagine you got. I don't know. You got like this gold embossed one.
Yeah, I do have that one.
I scrolled through it because I had like 3 of them in a row, and I'm like, he's got to have that.
Yep, I have that one.
Yeah, that one's numbered out of 2,000.
I can't quite see that one very well. It doesn't look familiar, but a lot of times I'll say that something doesn't look familiar, and then
maybe what we'll do is we'll set it aside and he'll snap pictures and send it to you.
Yeah,
Let's see if you have it. We know that one.
You got this the Diamond Destiny?
Yes, I do have the bronze.
Yeah, I don't have a silver or a gold.
Yeah, those are a little bit tougher.
You don't even see them. I haven't ever seen one, man.
Yep, I have that one.
I really like that card.
When I was a kid, I had a silver, I think it was Alex Rodriguez. At that time, it was worth like $15-20, which was a lot for me as a 12-year-old kid or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wait. This is one I wanted to show you. You got
the flare great gloves or whatever it's called.
Yeah, hot gloves or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, man, you got a huge box here. I wonder if we should just snap pictures and send them. Because
yeah, well, I just want to show them a couple more.
Yeah.
I'm currently at 947 is my official count, but I have 4 or 5 of them that are on the way.
You got this. This is like a gold Pacific Prism.
I think I do, but I'm not 100%. It's one of those deals too, where when you're shopping for cards, you see cards so often that now you can't remember if you saw that in your own collection or if you saw it online. Or
right.
This is actually one you don't see too often.
I do not have that one. The crown die cut. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have that one.
There's a couple different ones of these. And Dustin, you're gonna like freak out here. This is probably why you haven't ever seen hardly one of them. Like these are just the ones that I've got top loaded up.
Nice.
I bought a whole lot of them, like 80 of them from a dude.
Okay.
This was like 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know.
I see them once in a while, but they're always like $10, and I always try to hold out, be more patient, and try to find a better deal on them.
Right.
Yeah, that's the trick about. I mean, we've already talked about these cards, but pretty much any card that has Kirby running the bases for Game 6 is like I'm like Mel Gibson in the movie Conspiracy Theory. I have to like he runs into a bookstore to buy the Catcher in the Rye every time he's by a bookstore because I don't know if you've seen the movie, but the government's programmed him to do that. So then that's how they keep tabs on him where he's at.
So the government programmed you to buy those Kirby's or what?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Is that a Upper Deck Hot Commodities?
Yeah.
Yep, I do have that one. Yep.
I love what Upper Deck was doing back in the 90s with their insert cards. This is
there was a lot of great inserts in the mid 90s. Ooh, I don't think I have. Is that a Fan Fest?
Yeah, yep.
I don't think I have that.
Okay, this is a thick top loader. You probably can't tell that, but this is a lot of them that I got for like $10.
Oh, okay.
And I bought it because you never see those. Do you have the coins?
I do. I think I have every one. It's like 87 through 90 or something like that.
Yeah, I've bought lots of those too. But I think that's where we'll stop. I know I did tell you these are just a few cards I want to show you. Like I told you, I'm a real sucker for these are all like ACEO cards or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, they're really bad quality too, but this one has him with the running the bases and him jumping up and stealing the extra base from Ron Gant. Here's another one of him pumping his fist, running the bases.
I want to try to find a fit. Here we go. I'll just show you the one. Topps Tribute.
Yeah.
This with the bat relic.
Yep. Yeah, I got a couple of those. I love, like I said, I love that pose. A couple cards that I don't know if you have them or not, but you ain't getting them. Awesome. You can't hardly buy these unless they're slabbed either, because I mean, there's plenty of counterfeits out there. You don't want to buy them. You don't want to buy them if they're not slabbed, because
right. It's a funny story actually, because a friend of mine got that card as a gift, and he already had one, and he got it in a mag, and he said, well, he sent it to me, and I kept it for a while, and then one day I'm like, maybe I'll send this into PSA. So I opened it up and took it out and held it in my hand. As soon as I held it in my hand, I knew it was fake. And he never knew. He didn't know it was fake or anything. But as soon as that happened, I went and sold. I had an old Carl Yastrzemski rookie card. I'm like, I'm going to sell this son of a bitch and buy. I have to have this card in my collection. So I sold it and bought the Kirby.
Nice. Nice. And this one, I might get you on this one.
Oh yeah, I don't have the Visalia Oaks yet.
Story about that is after the Twins won the '87 World Series, me and my brother were at a card shop in Grand Forks and dropped $25 on that thing when we were just middle school, high school kind of age, and $25 to us was like, a couple $100 to me now, that was a ton of money. And I'm so glad that I have that card, because
that's a high dollar card nowadays.
Yeah. I've never sent it in to be graded. It was the most money I sold on a card. I didn't even spend that much money on another card until a few years ago. Like I slowly climbed the ladder, even when I got back into the hobby to the $25 range. I was buying like $5 autographs and stuff, missed out on a lot of probably good cards because I was being pretty frugal when I got back into the hobby.
Yeah, I'm pretty cheap about it too. I mean, maybe once my kids are older and out of school and stuff, then I'll want to spend more money. But right now, the big dollar cards are pretty few and far between.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. So are we gonna dive into this rock and roll Mount Rushmore?
I'm pretty jacked to actually. Do you have one of these?
I think I do, sir.
Okay.
Is that what is it, a national treasure? Or?
Yeah. I got it's out of 99. I don't know I don't know.
Is it this?
No, mine's you actually see his leg kicking up.
A different year. I might not have it then.
Okay, I'll set that one aside too.
Yeah, we'll send you a few pictures today.
Yeah, maybe we can get you
a couple more.
Yeah.
Close to 1,000.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Okay, you want to get into this Mount Rushmore? I'll let you.
Or Mount Rockmore, as I've been called.
Mount Rockmore. There you go.
There we go.
So how do you want to?
I did mine in chronological order because that's kind of how I decided on mine. Mine are not the greatest rock bands of all time or even my favorite bands. Mine are my Mount Rushmore is are bands that influence the way that I listen to music. Kind of change, open my mind up to a whole, and they are big bands. They're just not necessarily my favorites.
I think it's going to be a surprise to some people, because we're both rockers and we both like heavy metal and stuff.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you that it's going to be a lot different types of bands that we listen to. Maybe we both like or at least respect the bands that the other guy listens to, but I pretty much bet that they're not going to be the same.
Yeah, that's the fun part about it, though. I'm so excited to see what you guys both came up with, because Lorn hasn't told me. I'm just here to listen.
Lorn knows what three of mine are, I think, already.
I remember 2. I don't know if I remember the 3rd.
Okay.
We'll see. Oh yeah, I do. I think I do know 3 of yours.
So honorable mentions. I actually don't get worried, but I wrote down 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I only wanted to just very lightly talk about like 3 of them.
Okay.
Yep.
So the 3 of them that I want to say for honorable mentions. First one is ZZ Top.
Okay.
And that might be a surprise to some people, because you might think Southern rock. You might think, even a lot of people think of their 80s sort of Legs and Sharp Dressed Man and stuff. But these guys have some hard rocking tunes, and a lot of bands borrowed from them their riffs and sped them up, or they got a lot of distortion. They got a lot of funk. Just think they're a really underappreciated band in our like heavy metal-ish community.
I only own one ZZ Top album, and it's like from the 2000s.
Okay.
And it's a banger, man. And actually, it's probably the last CD on my shelf here. Riv Mean.
Yeah. This is their most popular, famous one. This is Eliminator.
Yeah.
Okay. My next one, honorable mention, is a band that is very influential to 3 big ones. Metallica. They're very influential to Metallica. They're extremely influential to Iron Maiden. And they're also influential to one of my favorite bands, Corrosion of Conformity. And that is Thin Lizzy.
Oh, yeah.
And this is their most famous album. This one has Jailbreak and The Boys Are Back in Town, which are their 2 songs they're known for, but they have a lot of songs that are way better than both of those songs. One of their, I think it was maybe their last album before the lead singer died, is called Thunder and Lightning. And that's got a song on there called Cold Sweat, which is like pure heavy metal. It's no classic rock. I think Megadeth covered it. But yeah, they're really influential to heavy metal.
Yeah, I really like Tin Lizzy, and I mean they've gotten back together, and John Sykes is was fronting them. I don't know if they're still together or not, but didn't John Sykes?
I think so. But their songs, they got a lot of great guitar solos and their songs. Okay, and then the third one that I'll mention, I don't have an album of actually, is a band that I grew up listening to, White Zombie.
Oh, okay.
So they were probably, when I was 11 or 12, they were my favorite band of all time at that point. But so yeah. So then my other ones that I'll just name and I won't say anything about, Alice Cooper, Alice in Chains, Black Label Society, Corrosion of Conformity, Deftones, Dio, Fear Factory, Judas Priest, Led Zeppelin, Megadeth, Metallica, Ministry, Ozzy Osbourne, Pink Floyd, Rammstein, Rainbow, Rush, Scorpions, Slayer, Soundgarden, Static X, and Ted Nugent.
You nailed a whole bunch of bands at practically every single one. I've got a pile of CDs for honorable mentions here that I was just going to flip up, and I probably will have to narrow that down to what I show. But yeah. When you brought up Zombie, I was like thinking Zombie was one of the saving graces for me during the 90s. The 90s, I thought rock and roll was dead. There was so few good, like, alternative music was in the forefront, and like, you know, the grunge era, the grunge band really kind of squashed what my hair metal and stuff like that. So, and then I also lived out in the middle of nowhere, North Dakota, that had like 2 stations, and one was country and the other one was oldies. So and there was no such thing as the internet. So you didn't know that there was actually some really good underground music still going on out there.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why our lists are going to be a lot different, because you grew up more in the 80s than I did. And I grew up more in the 90s, and besides a couple bands like White Zombie and Pantera, it was all like I hate myself music, and I had to look elsewhere. You know, I had to look and see what my parents were listening to, and that's why I kind of have a lot of like 70s music and stuff that I really dig.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So are you gonna do some honorable mentions? Is he gonna finish his Mount Rushmore? What do you guys want to do?
You do the honorable mentions, Lauren.
All right.
You want me to do some honorable mentions?
Yeah.
Well, you already mentioned a couple of, like, maybe all of them, possibly. But, I mean, for me, I could have made this really easy and did the big 4, Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer, you know. But I wanted to I really wanted to mix it up. I put a lot of thought into how I wanted to do this. But, you know, Anthrax, Testament. I love Testament. Slayer's God Hates Us All. Now the title,
that's their best album.
Huh?
That's their best album.
I like Slayer whenever they slow it down and have a little bit more chug to them. But do you know what day this album came out on?
September 11th, 2001.
Yeah, I went to Best Buy. Like our bus boy came into the restaurant. He's like, "You'll never believe what had just happened." And you know, somebody brought in a tiny TV and was sitting at a booth, and like it was just really strange. Like there was nothing. It's a little bit like the coronavirus is right now, what we're living through right now. But that day, I went over to Best Buy, bought this album. I'm walking around Best Buy, and you could hear a pin drop in that place. And I'm buying a CD called "God Hates Us All" the day that the towers get blown up. You know, it's just
I don't know if this is true, but I heard this as a rumor. You know, a lot of times when something tragic happens, a lot of times bands will move their release date back, you know. Mm-hmm. And I heard that Slayer moved theirs up when after it happened. They're like, we want to release this son of a bitch today.
I don't know, dude. I think they already had it. That isn't true. They was already in the stores. It was already on the stores waiting to be bought. But I mean, you name. I grabbed a stack. you know, you said Dio, Ozzy Osbourne. I'll save that one. Aerosmith.
Okay.
Zeppelin is like just you know, back when I was a kid and reading Metal Edges, everybody was talking about Zeppelin or Sabbath being who influenced them. You already mentioned Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. You can't not talk about Kiss, and you know, Van Halen. I mean, these are all bands that I had to consider whenever I did this. Great White. Great White has some great Mark Kindle, I want to say is his name. Absolutely awesome guitar player. And Jack Russell can pull off Robert Plant better than Robert Plant can, you know. So I really appreciate he's trying to show there. Them.
Van Halen is a very interesting band to me.
Yeah.
I think that they are like the perfect combination of a straight up heavy metal band and a straight up pop band. Like David Lee Roth had like the charisma and the flamboyance and the good looks and the energy that had this huge mass appeal. And then they could get away with like creating these really heavy riffs and releasing it and, you know, hitting the #1 on Billboard.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they kicked Roth out and got Sammy in, and nothing against Sammy, but he didn't have that same mass appeal that David Lee Roth did. So then they kind of like, it's like they had to tone the music down a little bit to meet Sammy in the middle, and then they basically just became a classic rock band after that.
I actually came into rock and roll late in the 80s. So Hagar was already their front man, and I appreciated what Van Halen was doing at the time. I'm not one of those guys that's like Van Roth or Van Hagar. I like it all. Like there's some guys that if you say you like Van Hagar, that's like blasphemy to them, you know. I just
had a lot of good stuff before he was in Van Halen, like what he was doing with Montrose and his solo stuff. He was a hard rocker.
Somebody actually told me, like, I picked up a Warrant album, probably like 10 years ago, but it seems recently to me because time just flies the older you get. Anyway, they had the lead singer from Lynch Mob, Robert Mason, singing on it. And I'm like, I don't like this. This doesn't sound like Warrant to me at all. It sounds like Robert Mason. And the guy that was working at my manager at the warehouse, he goes, that's how people that were Van Roth fans felt whenever they got Hagar, because it sounded like a band was Van Halen turned into Sammy Hagar's background band, because it sounded more like what Van Hagar was doing than what Van Halen was doing.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I get it now. And it's true. They definitely have different sounds, Van Roth, Van Hagar. And I just spent too much time on Van Halen. But,
this is honorable mentions, man. We're almost 30 minutes in already.
Tesla. Love Tesla. Alice in Chains. Def Leppard had some great albums in the early 80s. Motley Crue. This is Too Fast for Love, which is actually my favorite album. Queensryche. Whitesnake. Dokken is, if I was just going to pick my favoriteest metal band or rock bands of all time, Dokken probably would have been on my list. Slave to the Grind by Skid Row, one of my favoriteest albums. You already mentioned Black Label. I already spoke about Lynch Mob real quick. The Cult, absolutely amazing music. Almost done here, dude. Slipknot, Seven Dust. I'm into the like new metal here now. You already mentioned Deftones, Chevelle, and Nonpoint. Nonpoint is a dang good band. I think I'm probably gonna. Oh gosh, I got another stack here.
Dude, honorable
Boris.
I should have about this.
Racer X, which you know who Paul Gilbert is?
No.
You got to check him out, dude.
Racer X.
Absolutely amazing guitar player. Badlands, which is a super group before any of the guys made it. It has Eric Singer on drums of Kiss. He went later on went on to play for Kiss. It has the one guy that everybody knew at the time was Jakey Lee. It was Jakey Lee's project after his stint with Ozzy. Greg Chastain on bass. And you may know this guy and you may not, but Ray Gillen actually sang on the Depth sessions with Black Sabbath, but he died. That I think you can get bootleg versions of that now, but Dangerous Toys, absolutely loved Dangerous Toys growing up. And probably one of the most underrated bands, and they're still making music, is Vane. Absolutely love Vane. And that's lead singer Davey Vane. A lot of these bands went like once hair metal died in America, they just went over to Japan and kept on making music because they love that stuff over there. Okay, dude, I'm done.
So, are we going to dive into our Mount Rushmore then, or Mount Rockmore?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So, if you guys, whoever knows me personally, can probably guess 3 of them right away. So, the first one, Black Sabbath.
I held this one off because I knew you were going to have Sabbath.
And so, a lot of people talk about the difference between Ozzy and Ronnie James Dio. There's people that are hardcore Ozzy. There's people that are hardcore Dio. I love them both. I slightly prefer the Ozzy years, but I love the Dio years, and he's an amazing singer. But their early stuff is just so groundbreaking and so fresh at the same time. Like it's old. It's what started it all, but it's also like still sounds new to me, or it still sounds like legitimate heavy metal music. It doesn't sound like somebody making it in their garage,
I couldn't agree with you more. If I was strictly gonna say like the most influential rock bands of all time, Sabbath would have definitely been on that list for me. I kind of knew that you were going to probably hit the Sabbath, so I knew that I could stray from that.
And when I was in high school, I got a tribute album called Nativity in Black, and it had Pantera, Biohazard, Sepultura, White Zombie, COC, a bunch of bands like covering Black Sabbath songs, and that was before I really knew Black Sabbath, and that's what got me into it.
Was Megadeth on that too?
Yes, yep, Megadeth was on that.
Snowblind, maybe?
I think they did Never Say Die. Can't remember who did Snowblind. They had a couple volumes, and like System of a Down did Snowblind on one of them, I believe.
Oh, okay.
All right, and then my second one. And I grew up listening to these guys, so my parents listened to them. I listened to them. Everybody in the world listens to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And so, and even if you're not like a huge AC/DC fan, like when Back in Black comes on the radio, you don't change it. It's just the way it is. You bang your head, even if you nod your head a little bit. And this is a band that. Their lead singer died when they were just on the rise, when they were just starting to be really popular. Their lead singer dies. They hire a new singer that sounds completely different, and then they come out with maybe the best rock and roll album ever made, Back in Black.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the 4th greatest selling album in the history of of music. I love both Brian and Bon. Just I don't know what else can you say? Like when you think of rock and roll, they're like the epitome of rock and roll.
They could have stopped making music after Highway to Hell and Back in Black. If you ask me, those two albums are all you need to listen to. I really like old Bon Scott stuff more so than I would say that the last album that I really appreciated by them was probably The Razor's Edge.
Okay,
but
yeah.
Back in Black is like the greatest album of all time. And like definitely one of them.
Right, and I agree with you. Like, I like Brian a lot, but there's more miss than hit. You know what? Every Bon album was a classic, but not every Brian album has been a classic.
Yeah.
But an interesting, I'm going to paraphrase here, but an interesting quote from Angus Young in an interview many years ago. He said, "Anyone that says that we have 12 of the exact same albums is a liar. We have 15 of the exact same albums." Okay, and then my next one is a newer band, but still just as influential. And I grew up listening to these guys. Pantera, they're just, I've always just been drawn to them. They might be my favorite band of all time. I just love the way Dimebag plays, and yeah, I don't know, they're just great.
Dude, I knew you were gonna have them on here, so I grabbed some of my Pantera. Got some power metal.
Ha! Old school.
Got some I Am the Night.
Do you have Projects in the Jungle next?
Metal Magic.
Metal Magic.
And what you just said.
Projects in the Jungle.
Anyway, Pantera like buried these albums. They don't want people to know what they sounded like before Cowboys from Hell. I don't even know if they really want people to know that album's out there, but you know, that one has a couple of their most popular songs on it with Cowboys from Hell and Cemetery Gates, you know.
You can still tell, like, if you listen to those old hair metal Pantera, and the first three were a different lead singer, but you can still tell they have it, you know. Even though it's a different style of metal, you can still tell that, like, this band is tight. They're put together.
Yeah. Dimebag is still shredding like no other, man.
Okay, and then my last one, what I kind of did different probably than you did, Lorn, was when I started thinking about this, I wrote down like my top 20, 25 favorite bands that I listen to today. And then I sort of researched each band and tried to figure out who their influences were. And so this one here is my oddball pick. This is not one of my all-time favorites. I like this artist, but I wouldn't even put him in my top 20. But he is influential to probably everybody that we've talked about, if not directly, indirectly influential. And so that is the only album I have of him, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I actually thought you were going to say David Bowie there for a second.
Yeah, so Jimi Hendrix, so he's very influential to Ozzy Osbourne, very influential to AC/DC, and the term heavy metal was first used in a song by, the first time it was used in a song was by a band called Steppenwolf and their famous song Born to Be Wild. But the first time that the term was mentioned to describe music was about Jimi Hendrix, when a music writer wrote that his music sounds like heavy metal falling from the sky.
Oh, cool.
You know what's funny is I've never been a humongous Hendrix fan either, and I might only own like one album of his, and it's probably like a a collection album of some sort.
Right.
But yeah, so it's kind of funny that neither of us really have Jimmy up on that high on our list, because a lot of people would call us blasphemers for that. But
you can't deny his influence in it or anything,
Right.
or how good he is.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Whenever I was growing up, and I read Metal Edge magazine and stuff a lot, and they'd ask guitar players, "Who's your favorite guitar player?" And it was either Iommi or Page or Hendrix. I mean, the guys that were being interviewed for this were 10 years older than I was, and were growing up listening, or Angus, but they all listen, or Ace. I keep on adding guitar players, but
Richie Blackmore. Richie Blackmore.
Yeah, honestly, Blackmore, that's another dude that, whether it be Rainbow or Deep Purple. I mean, he launched some really great vocalist careers with both Coverdale and Dio and Jolyn Turner, all sang for Blackmore.
Yep.
Well, should we get into my Mount Rushmore?
Go for it, man.
My first one is going to be Metallica. And like you pointed out, I got a couple albums here. I actually don't know where I put all my albums for my Mount Rushmore. Oh, here we go. So anyway, yeah. And Justice for All was my introduction into heavy metal. And I couldn't get enough of that stuff. I got into, I backlogged into Master of Puppets, Ride the Lightning, and Kill 'Em All. When the Black Album came out, I think Metallica is the most instrumental band in the history of metal music to get it into the mainstream. And quite honestly, that's kind of whenever I kind of fell off the Metallica bandwagon a little bit, because I wasn't a humongous fan of Load and Reload. Wasn't a humongous fan of Saint Anger either. But everybody hated it, and I'm kind of a contrarian, so I pounded that album into my head, and that album's got me through a lot of tough times, because it is a album that bleeds hurt and hate and anger and forgiveness. It's just I feel it's Hetfield's most personal album, and Metallica for 30 years of my life, 35 years of my life, has been a big influence, even though I don't listen to them a lot nowadays, because I probably got burned out on them a little bit when my kid was playing Metallica Guitar Hero for months and months and months. And it was, I heard plenty of their classics that I absolutely loved too many times, but Metallica was my number one. My number two, I don't know. I think it's on your side, Kevin, actually, but there's Alice in Chains. Korn in the mid to late 90s. That album came out, and Korn and actually Deftones were opening for Ozzy in the Fargo Dome, and we scored tickets. We wanted to see Ozzy. Decided to give Korn a whirl, and I had to make myself listen to that album. I didn't know what the heck this new music was that they were putting out, but that is also another one that I grew to love it. I grew to love that album. It's still one of those albums, like whenever I'm in a angry mood, is a good album to exercise those demons with. And I feel like they are one of the bands. Deftones is another. I would also have to include. I kind of almost thought about Tool even too, as far as this, but Korn was the one album that I jammed in my ears a lot. And I feel like that opened me up to what was to come with the new metal scene, with you know, the turn of the century, actually 2000, with all that new metal music coming out.
Korn was the last concert that my wife and I went to.
Oh wow! Was it at the
most
Myth?
recent one?
Was it at the Myth?
No, it was at where the hell was that? I think it was at Excel Energy Center.
Oh, okay.
At where the Wild play. While we're on new metal and influential bands, I just wanted to quick mention a band that we never even, maybe we didn't think about, but Faith No More.
Oh, dude,
is another great influential band.
I actually did not like Faith No More when it came out, and someone brought it up to me, and I'm like digging into it, and it's really funny how much is it Mike Patton? Is that his name?
Mike Patton, yeah.
Yeah, every single album, he's very experimental with what he does, and I definitely don't give Faith No More enough credit. They were way before their time, way before their time. The next band, and this is probably my most poppy pick, but Linkin Park. I grew up not liking rap music, dance music, any of that kind of stuff. And Linkin Park influenced me. I got this album. We were working at a country kitchen, and the Target was right across the road. And at that time, like 99, 2000, the early 2000s, you could go over to Target and every Tuesday I was going over there and buying the new releases. And they were selling them for $5, $6, $7. And when I heard this, it blew my mind. I liked it right away. I was buying all my friends' copies and sending them in the mail, going, "You guys got to check these guys out." I really only listened to their first couple albums, but I definitely appreciate how that opened me up to listening to a different, like, all these bands had an impact on the way that I listen to music, and Linkin Park opened me up to listening to rap and stuff like that. I got my first Cypress Hill album after I listened to Linkin Park. So Linkin Park opened me up to that. I mean, when I thought music was dead before Korn, now I'm listening to Korn, I'm listening to Linkin Park, I'm listening to bands that are mixing rap and just weird programming in their stuff, in their music and stuff. So I give Linkin Park a lot of credit for how they influenced me there. My last band, I don't know if there's Dawkins. I think it's on your side, dude, actually. Oh, right there. Is Enter Shikari. Never heard of this band, have you, Dustin?
No.
This is a band that no one has heard of. They actually were playing X Fest, I want to say 5-6 years ago, and I looked at the roster for it, and every band that I never heard of, I started listening. I checked them out on YouTube. Checked these guys out. Wasn't really thrilled with them, but one video of theirs caught my eye, and it was them playing this. The video caught like a live performance, and it looks like it's in a basement. And my kid is in a rock band, and it captured what you want a house party, with a band playing to look like. Just everyone climbing all over each other, everyone singing the lyrics, just having a gay old time. It's called "Sorry You're Not," is the name of the song. And that intrigued me enough to continue to listen to their music. And all these bands were, except for Linkin Park, really, and Metallica, but Korn and Enter Shikari took me some work to actually like. And that was like 5 or 6 years ago. And I feel like they've ruined music for me, really, because I listen to Enter Shikari, probably at least half the music I listen to is them. I listen to, and I know that you're putting up a playlist. I'll put up a playlist too, but you got to watch their live performances. They're also one of those bands that really have taken advantage of social media. They put out a lot of live performances with a lot of different camera angles, like studio quality kind of stuff, not someone with their cell phone kind of stuff. But they got like, I wouldn't recommend their last album because I think it got a little bit too influenced by David Bowie passing or something. Got way too poppy. But they mix punk, they mix dance, they mix like Beatles sound. They just, and rock and roll. I mean, there's so much. It feels like they took like every genre and put it in a blender and mixed it all up. And that's why it's kind of hard to like listen to, but once it opens up your mind, it's absolutely mind-blowing. So that was my fourth one. I did them in chronological versus my most favorite, because some of these bands aren't my most favorite bands, but Intershar is definitely probably my favorite band right now. I just got to mention one more band, and that's the Conformist Party, which is my kid's band. I wouldn't put him on the Mount Rushmore yet, but we're hoping, man.
Yeah, I've checked out a couple of their videos, and they're pretty good.
They got a really heavy one sitting on the burner that my kid's like kind of stuck on the video part of it. And like he had to pick me up this morning for a minute and drive me home, and he was letting me listen to some of their new stuff. And I'm like, dude, you got to just start getting some of this stuff out there, you know, because they don't have any boundaries really either. I told Kevin this should have been a 2-part episode. I don't know how long we're looking at.
It's going to be our longest episode ever.
It doesn't feel like.
No, not totally not. But it's going to be pushing the hour mark.
Nice.
If there's still anybody watching at this point, and people that, I mean, I just want to say, always look for new music. And I don't just mean new music. I mean music that's new to you. If there's a band that you kind of like, you like 1 or 2 songs, but you're not that familiar with their discography, look them up, man. Listen to all their music. If there's a band that's so hyped up and supposed to be so influential, but you don't like the 2 songs that you know of them, look them up, man. Because a lot of times your favorite band, your favorite songs by them are not the ones that you hear on the radio. And heavy metal music, when I don't really like to use the term heavy metal that often, because it's a very people have a preconceived notion of what heavy metal is. I liken it to like a Western movie. People already have judged whether they're going to like it or not before they've seen or heard it. And I want people to give music a chance. You know, have an open mind to be a free thinker.
Right.
You know what's funny, dude, is that you like the 90s were pretty depressing for me. Somebody that I really got into, actually mostly this album, it's Sarah McLachlan's Fumbling Towards Ecstasy album. Just because I wasn't finding it rock and roll that I liked. That album is really, really just, she's got a lot of, she made it big on her next album. This album to me is her best, and everybody knows her as, you know, her like commercial songs came after that. But yeah, I love music. I know that I've watched your thing, and some of the albums you got behind your cards are definitely not stuff that I would appreciate, but you must. So
well, I filmed a new episode of KPs and LPs today. Yeah, and I dropped it a little bit ago. But yeah, I mean, good music doesn't know any genre. It doesn't. Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
I love musicianship. I love people that can write good lyrics. I like people that can play their instruments well. The reason why I didn't have Blake on this episode is because he listens to stuff that I would throw in the garbage. So.
Oh, man.
It's so funny you said it, because I got deep into the Carpenters there for a minute. They make some good music.
I do have a Carpenter's album. I think probably have the greatest hits or whatever on vinyl.
Yeah. Like you said, great music knows no boundaries, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good way. I know that we could talk for so much longer, but I might have to make this 2 episodes as it is. So we'll bring it to a close, but hang on the line for 1 second here. That'll bring episode 98. What'd you guys call it? Mount Rockmore?
Mount Rockmore.
Yeah, the Mount Rockmore episode to a close.
Skull Brothers out.